What's up everyone, MonadoMax here, and today we're actually going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch OLED. So a lot of you have been asking me if I'm going to be picking up the Nintendo Switch OLED, and some of those questions have also been, why have I not been covering the Nintendo Switch OLED? If you look at my channel, I've done, like, literally, there's not a single video on this channel about me talking about the Nintendo Switch OLED. Why is that? Well, we're going to get into it. But first I'm going to answer the question, am I picking up a Switch OLED? The answer is no. I'm not picking up a Nintendo Switch OLED. I have a few reasons as to why, and we're going to be talking about it all into this video. So let's get right into the video. As someone who is a big fan of OLED, I think it's awesome that Nintendo is fully utilizing OLED onto their new Nintendo Switch. I think some of their games would look so beautiful with OLED, and we're going to see that. I mean, a game that comes to mind is Mario Kart 8 going on N64 Rainbow Road. I think that's going to be beautiful on an OLED screen. OLED is such a beautiful thing, and I think it's really awesome that Nintendo is using that. However, I feel, for me personally, since I am very satisfied with my Nintendo Switch already, this is the version 1, I never got the version 2, I am very satisfied with my Nintendo Switch. And seeing that it is a $350 price increase, well, it's not, it's a $50 price increase off the regular base Nintendo Switch, there's not enough improvements with the Switch OLED for me to buy a whole nother Switch. And the reason why is I love my Switch. I feel like I play it mostly on handheld mode, if I'm being honest. It's just, I don't think it's worth it for that expensive price point right there. If I was able to sell my Switch for the right price and use that money to get a Nintendo Switch OLED, it's something I might consider down the road. But as of right now, it doesn't make sense. Not to mention now we have these rumors about a 4K Nintendo Switch happening again, aka Nintendo Switch Pro. And I still have my doubts of a Nintendo Switch Pro happening, but the fact that that's being talked about again, it does have me worried about getting an OLED when there's about to be another potential Nintendo Switch coming out. And I just want to say, I did make a video talking about a Nintendo Switch Pro, and I still stand by my points of that video saying that I believe it is a bad idea to get something like a Nintendo Switch Pro. If you want to see that video, check out the description. One of the key things that I would love to have in terms of a Nintendo Switch that would encourage me to buy something like the Nintendo Switch OLED is if it had a better battery life. And I know the version 2 Switch has a better battery life, but it's not that much different than the version 1. I feel like a majority of the games on the Nintendo Switch, I feel like it takes like less than 3 hours to kill my Switch. I know that when the Nintendo Switch was announced, I think they said that most games would run it was either 6 or 8 hours. I've never found a game where my Switch doesn't last longer than 3 hours. So I feel like that was capped, but we'll have to see. Now, this isn't me trying to say, hey, don't go buy a Nintendo Switch OLED. Because the Nintendo Switch OLED is awesome. It's awesome for the right person, especially if you're a handheld user like me. It's just that price point, it's not worth it to me with all the new features. And let's be real, the only new feature, to be honest, the main feature is the OLED, and that is a major big deal. Also a little bit of a bigger screen. It's just, for me personally right now, the price doesn't make sense. But I want to make sure that I'm not coming across like, oh, I hate the Nintendo Switch OLED, don't buy it. No, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying for you guys to not buy the Switch OLED. I know so many of my friends getting the Switch OLED, and I understand their reasons as to why. Makes perfectly logical sense to me why they are buying a Switch OLED. It's just, for me right now, it does not make sense to buy a Switch OLED. So don't expect me to make any unboxing videos or me giving a review for the Nintendo Switch OLED, because I'm not picking one up. I mean, I will say though, that Nintendo Switch dock, the new one, looks pretty cool that comes with the OLED one. Although I'm pretty sure you can use that new dock on the old Switch, so maybe down the road I might pick up the new dock, because it looks pretty cool and it comes in white. I think that's awesome. Especially since so many consoles are going with white now. I kind of have to get a white Switch because all the colors are going to look weird. Not to mention, I'm not saying that I'm never going to get a Switch OLED. It's just, as of right now, with everything happening about the still possibility of a Switch Pro, which again, don't want that to happen. And not to mention, I know Nintendo all the time does cool console versions. Like they would do a cool special edition. Like I think they did it for Animal Crossing, Smash Bros, Mario Odyssey. I'm gonna wait till something like that happens, and then I'll consider buying it. But even then, the features aren't enough. It's just the money doesn't make sense unless obviously I get it for the good price and I can sell my Switch, you know, to make it a lower price point for myself. I am really excited to see OLED in person. I know a lot of people that are getting the Switch OLED, so I'm definitely going to be interested to see it in person, how it actually looks, because I bet so many of these games are going to look beautiful. Like I said, Mario Kart 8 is going to be a perfect example of why OLED is going to be so beautiful. And again, I want to highly say that, like, I'm not trying to dissatisfy you as the person if you're out there already buying a Switch OLED. I'm just explaining my reasoning as to why I'm not buying a Switch OLED, because to me it doesn't make sense, since I've already put $300 into this system right here. To put in another $350, it doesn't make sense. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't own a Nintendo Switch yet, then a Switch OLED makes so much sense for you to go ahead and buy first, because in terms of my understanding is the old Switch is not going to be going down in price. I know in other regions it is, but America, they have confirmed it's not going to be jumping down or lowering in price. So if you are somebody that's now about to consider dropping money on a Switch, definitely wait for a Switch OLED, because you can only have to spend what, $50 extra to get the new version, and OLED is going to be so beautiful. I guess in reality it depends if you're a handheld user. I use the Switch mostly in handheld. I feel like it's 60-40, that 60% being me using it in handheld more, and the 40% is in console. So consider that when you're buying a Switch. Although I feel most of us already have a Switch, especially if you're watching this channel, you probably already own a Nintendo Switch. But I figured I would throw that in, just in case. At the end of the day, the Switch OLED is a good console. It's just not for me. There's not enough new features for me to go out and spend that extra mule on something. Also, you gotta consider the Switch Pro rumors starting up again, which I don't want to deal with a whole nother year with the Switch Pro rumors. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I've been talking for way too much. I do want to know what you guys think. Are you picking up a Switch OLED? And if you are picking a Switch OLED, are you happy with the features? Are you satisfied? Are you like me where it's like, ah, it's cool, but I don't want to spend that money? And I know so many people that are just spending the money because they kind of have to, because of what they do in terms of content creation. A lot of my friends who are content creators, they don't really care about the Switch OLED. They're just picking it up because they have to for content creation. And I guess for my sake, I should probably do the same thing. It doesn't make sense to me to spend that extra money. I'm going back and forth at the same points, but I just wanted to come on and explain my reasonings as to why I'm not picking it up, because really, again, it's just OLED, and OLED's beautiful, but OLED has become cheaper and cheaper now, and I feel like you could have sold this for still $300, but that's a hot take for another day. I think Nintendo's definitely racking up more money, and people not realizing about how cheap OLED is going to be, because Nintendo most likely used the cheaper OLED. There's different forms of OLED, some that are cheaper, some are more expensive. Nintendo went with this cheap stuff, I'm assuming, just from their previous track record. It always takes them forever to learn technology that's like LAN adapters. Never mind, that's a story for another day. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to / that subscribe button. Check out the Discord server. Check out my Twitter, which is also, all of that is in the description below. I'm heading to Too Many Games, guys. I'll see you guys there. I'm going to be covering the whole event on this YouTube channel, and it's going to be 3 separate vlogs for each day, because it's a 3-day convention. So I'm really looking forward to making videos on that. So I will see you guys there if you're going. Alright guys, I will see you all in the next video. Peace.